Okay, we have a guest in the house.
Yes.
Welcome, Wynter, to the show. Who picked today's film, which we're going to get to in a little bit. But a longtime friend of mine for many years now, and a big supporter of the show. And welcome, and glad to have you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
And are you really? Really?
I'm super excited.
You are.
It's my favorite movie.
I think is Wynter our first female?
Nope, it's Julia Denham.
But we're not. Don't get me started on her. Thanks, Matt. Remember the cosplayer at Complusa?
The one that I keep sending pictures of in chat?
Uh-oh.
So,
well, I'll be nice and just say that we had her on the show, and she was a good guest. Don't get me wrong. I'll give her that support, but we got no what's the word?
Reciprocation.
Reciprocation back. She didn't promote us at all. Nothing, and I was kind of bitter about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like no, and she has a lot of social media following.
Yeah.
And gave us nothing.
Oh, well.
And then when I saw her later that weekend at the con and said hi, she acted like I didn't exist.
Oh, no.
So I was like, you know what? Screw her.
Yeah. No.
So, and but I don't have to worry about that with Wynter.
Yeah.
there we go.
I love it all.
Yeah.
She's genuine.
Yeah, she's a longtime friend of mine, and we've been kind of throwing the idea around about podcasting for a while now. So finally made it happen.
Yes.
And
I thought it was going to be in a Halloween episode at one point.
We're talking that.
okay.
Maybe
You
back.
dissed my man.
She may be back in October. Yeah, I dissed Michael Myers. So you remember?
Yes.
That episode?
Yes.
I was like, I don't.
This is why I'm wearing the shirt.
Maybe we can follow
Is that
up
what
with
it was, a
Halloween
shot back
too.
at me?
Yeah.
Did you like the Rob Zombie ones?
Yes, I did.
You did?
I did.
Yeah.
They're making a Halloween 2.
My ex hated the second one for some reason.
The hospital?
No,
The
not the
Rob
original.
Oh.
The Rob Zombie second one. Yeah.
Yeah, I love them all.
But she
Yeah.
loved the original stuff. Except for Halloween 3.
Isn't that the really weird one that
The
had like
season of
nothing to do with?
Culprit.
Yeah, it was like cults and stuff.
Season of the Witch or something.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
like that, yeah.
It wasn't even like the same studio. It was just the name Halloween, and it was all bizarre.
We just pretend that doesn't
Yeah.
exist.
Yeah.
So Wynter, this is your time. Introduce yourself. What do you do? I know you have some stuff you want to plug, and
My name is Wynter Harlow. I am a showgirl with the Kiki Maroon's Burley Q Lounge. We have 2 monthly shows now, one in Houston and one in Dallas. Our upcoming show is July 12th in Houston and July 13th in Dallas, both at House of Blues. I am also a member of the Benefit Betties here in Houston. We are a nonprofit organization. We help women and children shelters and also help with animal shelters. We also send care packages to the men and women who are serving overseas or deployed overseas. So we're always taking addresses
Nice.
and donations so we can send the best care package possible.
yeah, I've actually I've seen the show that y'all do for Kiki Maroon a little over a year ago, and it's very entertaining. And for people that don't know, if they've never been to a show like that, it's a mix of comedy, sideshow kind of acts. Would that be the way to describe it?
Yeah.
And showgirls and stuff. Yeah.
Vaudeville variety
Yeah.
show, music, burlesque, comedy, sideshow. We try to get a little bit of everything from all over. We have international acts sometimes. I mean, really great show.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It's a different experience for your typical entertainment show that people may not know about. Because there are people out there I had never really. That was something I didn't know about till a few years ago. Like
Yeah.
I had heard the word before, but I was like, that was like a 1930s thing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's made a comeback in recent years with a lot of troops and stuff doing that again.
Yeah.
And it's pretty
Chicago
neat.
might have a big part in that. The movie Chicago.
Yeah, it may have
With,
brought it back.
Renee Zellweger and Catherine Zeta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Richard
true.
Gere.
Was Richard Gere in that one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, it's either him or
Razzle dazzle him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of helped bring it and come
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
the things.
So I have a lot of fun. I have a very busy life. And I'm a mom, and I'm a wife, and, and I work.
Yeah.
Balancing multiple things.
I know. I wonder sometimes how we have time to do this, but we make it happen.
Yeah.
Well, this is our outlet to all those other things that we
Yeah.
do. So just like for you. So, but we're glad to have you on the
Thank
show.
you
So,
so much.
Garb.
so, but I'm going to quiz you. What was the last episode you listened to of our show?
Just the other day.
The latest one?
Yes.
Indiana Jones? Okay. Good. Just making sure.
There we go.
Well, yeah, because I emailed you. I was like, hey.
Yeah. So how's y'all's weeks, guys? Y'all been good?
Yeah. I've been great, Mark.
You're just going to keep shoving the Whataburger shade down my throat, huh?
Always.
So
You know, but...
maybe we'll have to hear this story later.
Well,
We will have...
I mean, we can hit it out.
Yeah,
I'm ready
we-
to throw it out.
Whataburger
Okay,
story.
for people that don't live in Texas, listen to the
Mark
show.
hates Whataburger.
No, I
No,
never
he
said
doesn't
that.
hate it.
No, I'm
Whataburger,
Yeah.
Whataburger is a famous burger joint here in Texas, with like 700 something locations, and it's a Texas tradition, Texas staple. And it's recently announced that a Chicago-based firm has bought into the Whataburger name and plans to take it national and open up restaurants in other states. And Texans are freaking out. They're like, "Oh my God, it's not our same Whataburger anymore. The burgers are going to shrink, and it's going to be like Jack in the Box and all this shit or whatever." And I just simply said, "Get over it, people on Twitter. It's not that big a deal. It's like it's overrated anyway."
Let the
Because I just
people
feel I think Whataburger is good. When you compare it to Jack in the Box and McDonald's, yes, I'm going to eat Whataburger. But I also don't think it's like that great. It's not the end of the world. It just means if I'm in Wyoming for some reason why I'd be in Wyoming, I might be able to get a Whataburger. That's all it means.
I think you can compare this to whenever Mark watched Halloween, and then he's like,
Oh, shit.
I mean, it's not that great. And then you have this cult following of people that are like, are you kidding me? It's like
Darn you.
the Halloween movie. And so you have people that are like, it's the Texas burger. And so you're like, how can you not enjoy it as much as we do? And
But
so
you
that's
tried to
kinda
say
the
I
thing.
was un-Texan because
I
I,
did,
said so
I
right.
did, I did
Doesn't
say
make me
you're un-Texan.
un-Texan. I don't wear cowboy boots. Am I un-Texan?
Yes.
Well, I don't know
Go buy a Ford Bronco right now to save
I mean-
yourself. Not a white Ford Bronco, maybe a blue one.
Oh no.
But no, I've been messing with Mark back and forth and good in all good fun.
I've been adding gasoline into that.
He has.
too.
Long's just throwing gasoline on the fire.
Yeah.
I mean,
You should see the text exchanges we had too. I was like, what did I put?
You said something about how. Oh man, what did you say? Oh my God, you're even going this.
Oh yeah, your name got into our text line too, which is funny.
Uh-oh.
No,
It's
it's innocent.
Yeah, it's in an innocent way.
I can show you the whole thing if I want.
but I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to lose my shit over a burger joint that's going to go national. It's not a big deal.
There's
You know,
people that are losing it, and
it doesn't make it any less Texas tradition just because you can find it in other states. You know, as of
Yeah.
a few years ago, you couldn't get Shiner Bock out of state, and now you can get Shiner beer in like 42 out of the 50 states now. So I mean,
Very true.
yeah.
I've seen it in movies, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, hey.
So it is what it is. It doesn't make it any less part of our great state or anything like that. It just it's just
I
expanding.
put something stupid like Philly cheesesteaks are a Texas tradition.
Californians hated it when In-N-Out Burger started moving out, but you
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
So-
Have you tried it?
Yeah.
How is it?
What the?
I keep wanting to try it, and
No.
it just hasn't worked out.
It's just
I had it in Dallas Fort Worth because I was like, I've got to try In-N-Out. I'm in Dallas Fort Worth. There's an In-N-Out burger over here, so I'm gonna go try it.
Oh,
And it
okay.
reminded me of Sonic, I guess is what I would compare it to.
I don't see the big deal about it.
No.
But then there's that other burger place that everyone raves about too. I think Carl Jr.'s.
Oh,
yeah.
Carl's Jr.
That stuff is gross.
Yeah, they're okay. I mean,
Dairy
I like them better than Jack in the Box.
yeah.
Queen's pretty good.
I think
Dairy Queen's good.
Queen's
Yeah.
I love how
I
they
think-
steam their burgers.
yeah.
They steam them?
I don't know.
Like they go through a dry cleaning rack or something?
I'm thinking like a rust.
Yes.
Castle.
Oh, White Castle?
Steams their burgers. I know they steam their burgers.
They're
Yeah.
like that big. I don't know.
Sliders. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're all up north, White
Yeah.
Castle.
Midwest.
Yeah. Because when I was in Oklahoma, I know they have them up there somewhere. And I was curious where the closest one was, and it was still like 300 miles away, even in Oklahoma.
Really?
Damn it.
Please, Oklahoma's full of alcoholics.
Well, that's actually
Barely
true.
taste their food.
Go to
barely
Oklahoma.
See in front of them.
Downtown Oklahoma City is nothing but bars.
Yeah.
It's not like going downtown here where there's office buildings and people working. It's literally bars in downtown Oklahoma City.
States
Yeah.
surrounded by
I don't know where people work at. They must work out in the city.
Yeah.
So the whole Whataburger thing, that conversation kind of started yesterday, and I told Jackie, I said, you know what? I'm going to Whataburger today, and I'm ordering a triple meat, triple cheese, and I'm going to eat it, and I'm going to post it on Facebook. Haven't eaten one since I was like 18, and so I was like, I don't know if I have the metabolism to handle it.
Oh, I
Oh no,
don't think I
triple
ate
meat,
triple
triple
cheese.
cheese.
Oh.
And so I ate it, and I was like, I was sleepy afterwards.
Oh my goodness.
With your tongue hanging
And,
out.
yeah, at least you didn't blast me on Facebook, even though you mentioned
I threw.
I knew you were talking about.
I knew. Yeah, I wasn't. I'm not going to call anyone out directly, but I had to have a little fun with it. And everyone's like, "Oh, I like this over here," or "You've got to try this." "Oh no, this is the best burger over here." So it started a fun conversation. And then someone posted In-N-Out on there, like, "Oh, In-N-Out's better," and I'm like, "Oh, here we go." So
Well, I want to try it out one day just to say I tried it.
Yeah.
And every time I go to Austin, it's there, and like I either go to Phil's, which is a place I like that has
Yeah.
good burgers, and I forget. And then
Phil's looks good.
when I was in
that.
Dallas last year for the race, for the NASCAR race, we went to eat at Chick-fil-A and didn't pay attention, and that was right next door. I'm sitting there after we're done eating, like, I would have rather have eaten there. And so I keep missing In-N-Out by like that much. So one day.
One day.
There's one opening up soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they
Center?
finally started construction, yeah.
City Center?
I think so.
No, that's where one that wants to open. The first one's supposed to be near Allen Parkway, maybe? No.
That would make sense. Keep it like downtown where they get a lot of lunch traffic.
They plan on having like 6 open within, like, by the end of 2021 in Houston.
I think they'll be successful off the bat. People are going to want to try
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So now that we've made everyone hungry,
Yes.
talking about hamburgers and stuff, the beginning of the show.
Yes.
So.
And then I made tacos tonight. Friggin'
None of that.
awesome tacos.
Not Phil's, not Whataburger, not In-N-Out. Holds a candle to old school Charlie's hamburgers. You know?
That's a good.
Why does that sound familiar, Charlie?
Because we were talking about it in the car the other day, you and me and Long.
Okay.
Fountain View, right?
I don't know.
There
if
were-
it's
One
still
on
there.
Fountain View.
Yeah, there were a few. The one I remember was on Campbell and Blaylock Road. And,
Yeah.
Up near I-10 for
Yeah,
a
I
long
remember that
time.
one.
Yeah, that was a good place.
Very true.
Get soda in a bottle.
Yeah.
I always thought that was cool as a kid. Like, soda comes in a bottle. It's neat. So let's get into today's show, shall we? And we download this.
Yeah.
What have we
We
watched
haven't started yet.
officially? You know,
Not
it's
officially.
like in the movies when you have the prologue. You know,
What have we been talking about
Yeah.
this whole time?
where
I want
Like-
to go to sleep.
yeah, it was the origin of the show.
The origin.
You know, like when I was watching Aquaman the other day, and it's like the origin at the beginning, where Arthur is born and all that stuff. See,
Download this. So that's
now
why
we
you download this.
now we born the show. No,
Aquaman?
wait, was born the word? I don't know. No, I did. I watched Aquaman last week. I was just bringing that up. But
okay.
Yeah, we did talk about that too.
Yeah.
That you got it in,
Yeah.
and then Jackie thought I ordered it.
We should let Winter go.
She got all
first.
excited. Yeah, let
Yeah.
Winter go first.
Yeah.
What have you checked out? What have you downloaded? Watched any movies? Streamed anything?
So I finished What If on Netflix. Okay, so let me just tell you the backstory real quick. My dad bought me a Roku. I've come into this world, and I am hooked, and I'm like checking out everything. I didn't even know I could get all these channels, but I've already had Netflix and Hulu. So, anyways, Netflix. I watched What If. That was a good series. Dead to Me, the new Black Mirror series. Watch all that. I'm trying to find new stuff.
I haven't gotten into Black Mirror yet, though. I've been wanting to. I've heard people say it's hit or miss. They say
so
there's some
good.
episodes that are kind of like, eh.
It's kind of freaky.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
kind of like this shit could happen.
Yeah.
You know, if you really think about it, like some of the episodes, it's like real life. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like,
You should check out Love, Sex, Death, and Robots. Since you're a
Okay.
heavy metal fan,
Oh.
it's a cavalcade of different animations.
okay.
It was supposed to be it started as a reboot of heavy metal. They were David Fincher and Tim Miller, who directed Deadpool, were going to do a new heavy metal film, but the studio wasn't quite feeling it, so they took the idea to Netflix and created this anthology, and they made an animated series called Love, Sex, and Robots, right? Yeah, and it's on Netflix. It's like
wow.
18 episodes. It's very much in the vein of this film we're talking today.
Okay.
And
I'll check that out.
they're even somewhat, almost unofficially calling it a heavy metal tie-in now, because they just announced they're going to do a season 2. Yeah.
Okay,
Even
I'm
though
gonna
it's
watch this.
and it's pretty
I
neat.
think it's consistently good too.
Yeah.
There's not one episode that's miss.
Is it an anthology or does it tell a story?
It's an anthology.
It's an
Okay.
anthology. There's no
Yeah, there's no tie-in like this film. Yeah, it's more of an anthology.
Gotcha.
Okay, I'm gonna start that this weekend.
highly recommended.
Start that this weekend.
Very adult
Yeah.
though, too.
Very adult.
Watch it at
Yeah,
night.
we go to bed.
Yeah.
Well, they don't show any actual,
No
But just-
robot sex. No.
Uh,
No robot sex?
no, just
It's disappointing. She has her earphones in, dude.
don't matter.
Have you ever seen Old School earmuffs?
Yeah, but if you're a kid, you could pretend you're wearing earphones. And
I don't know.
That's why she has a tablet. I promise you, she's not paying any attention.
Yeah, she didn't even look this way. Whatever I said, robot sex.
Kids get into zones. They don't know.
Yeah,
She's in a
discovery zone.
monster high zone.
I don't trust kids.
I don't trust them. You ever seen Children of the Corn? Malachi. Long?
What? No. What did I do this week? I just finished up a couple of anime series. Their spring run is ending, so the summer season of anime is starting up in about a week or two. Rise of the Shield Hero, one more episode left. It's a really good one. It's a fantasy anime, and that one is one more episode left, and I'm kind of sad to see it go. What else was there? I know I rewatched an old movie. What was it? I think it was Godzilla versus...
Mega Godzilla?
No.
Long watching old Godzilla movie.
Yeah,
No surprise there.
What a surprise. Yeah. But, no, I didn't think I watched a Godzilla. No, I didn't.
Yeah, so you hit 40, man, you forget shit.
I know. When I hit 40, that's it. That's the end of the road for me. I'm done.
Just write it down next time.
Yeah.
Log.
Take a note.
All I did was watch heavy metal last night, just because I've always wanted to watch it. I've only seen bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So as a middle school kid, I only saw the bits and pieces I cared about.
I hear you. I hear you.
So what did you check out this week, Matt?
I decided I was going to watch the Heavy Metal 2000 just so I could speak about it.
I'm sorry.
I know. I felt like, man, if
Animated?
Yeah, it was animated. It kind of looks like, whenever they redid Ninja Turtles in the early 2000s for Saturday morning cartoons. In fact, it had the animator for the 2000s Ninja Turtles on this one, and it looks exactly like a Saturday morning cartoon, which is unfortunate. You really wouldn't want it to look that way. You'd want it to look a little bit more like the original, or maybe something more detailed like DC Animated looks like. But a solid story, revenge story. You've got Billy Idol and Michael Ironside as voice actors, and they do a pretty good job. But the graphics, the animation kind of ruins it. Solid story. It's not like the original one. It's one all the way through, tells the whole story, and there's a nod to the last story in the film we're going to talk about. So that was really cool. And then Mark is trying to watch Dragon Ball Z. So I was like, what anime do I need to start introducing Jake to? Because Jake has seen Dragon Ball Z, and then he's seen Dragon Ball Super. I was like, so we started watching Naruto, and we're most of the way through season 2.
Are you liking it?
Oh, he's liking it. At first, he didn't like it that much. I've seen all the way up until the end of Shippuden.
Oh.
Well, not all the animated stuff, because I'd read the manga, and then I started watching the...
Manga's less filler, huh?
Yeah, way less filler. I mean, straight to the point. You can watch, 10 episodes, get through 10 episodes in less than an hour. Mm-hmm. Yeah, on the manga. So I can't wait until he gets to Shippuden. And then last night I watched Wild Things with because I was like,
a bad movie.
With Denise Richards.
I was gonna say,
Yes.
is that
The Denise Richards. I mean, that scene's worth watching.
yeah,
the pool scene?
yes, the pool scene, or whenever he shows up to the hotel,
yeah.
and they're both
The
there.
rest of the movie's just so horrible.
I didn't think that Denise Richards showed the girls off in that film. I thought maybe she was just like, in the see-through bikini, and that was it.
I think she was trying to get roles at that
Come
time.
on,
Yeah.
That scene alone broke the internet.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
Before she did James Bond and
How many
everything.
dial-up connections were hogged up? Because of that?
I told Jackie, I said, she dated Charlie Sheen. I should have known that she was going to show the girls off.
They made a Wild Things 2, I think.
Like 2, 3, and 4,
Yeah,
like all
something
directed
like that.
videos.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen them. I don't even remember the first one. I do remember those parts.
My opinion of Charlie Sheen has dropped, for sure.
What? He's a Vatican-style assassin with Adonis DNA and tiger blood.
Probably coked out somewhere.
Who, by the way, spread HIV viruses to the women he slept
It's the
with
gift
without
that
telling
keeps on
them.
giving.
Yeah.
He
What a terrible human.
You're looking at this the wrong way, Long.
I don't think so, because
I'm gonna snort nos out my nose.
just the fact that he gave HIV to women, life-threatening disease. I don't think so.
Anyway,
That.
Next.
I think in 150 episodes, I think it's the first time we've ever had a Charlie Sheen. I didn't watch a lot this week, but I played video games. PlayStation had a big sale going on last weekend, so I picked up Madden 19 and talked all kinds of smack to my son Michael, and
there we go.
Then he beat me. I was like, and I didn't go easy on him. I really didn't.
Complicated.
I gave him some tips as to like, hey, you might want to call a timeout right here in the game or whatever. But I didn't help him, and he beats me 20-14. And I was like, wow,
20-14.
I can't talk shit.
You have Madden 19 like I do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate that you have to press buttons every time you make a catch.
I probably haven't played Madden since like 12 or 13, so it's been 6-7 years, and it's like really hard now. It's very like much more complicated, but I guess his age, they sit there and play their Nintendos or tablet games or whatever, so he picks it up like that, and he just like, and he beat me a couple more times by a couple much worse scores, but we're not going to talk about that. And
it's always the little kids, like on the, because you told me, because I told you that I popped on and I'm like, it's so complicated, I kept losing, and you're like, there's probably some other kid that you're playing online on the other side of that beating you.
I know, right?
Because you're like, did you turn on your voice, your chat? And I was like, no. Good. There's probably some 12-year-old talking smack to you.
I know, it's sad. Our video games are not the same as they used to.
Darn it.
I used to rule a Madden.
Heck yeah.
But now it's like, But it's fun. That's really played that with him, and that's about all I've really done this week. A lot of video game playing this week.
Gotcha.
Madden's adult daycare for all the filthy casuals to stay away from real gamers.
Adult daycare.
And Batman Arkham Knight, kind of getting back into playing that.
Oh, nice.
You need to get that on your your
People are
Xbox
saying
One.
Fortnite,
I think it's
that free to
like
play
cheap.
game.
I think it's free download for me because I have Xbox Live Gold.
That's a really
and I get a few
really good
free
Batman
games.
game.
Yeah.
You guys are familiar with Fortnite, right?
Yeah.
Free to play game.
Yeah, my
The best
son plays it.
babysitting game there is.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. A lot of gamers our age have seen less and less kids in that age group playing on the video games online, traditional games, and it's all because of Fortnite.
Yeah.
Like,
But hopefully next week's show, I hope to see Toy Story this weekend.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Toy Story 4 comes out.
I've seen that. I've seen the first Toy Story since I was a sophomore in high school.
Well,
There's no reason to stop the tradition.
Well, someone at work was like,
Though I'm grown.
someone at work was like, "Well, I can't go because I don't have kids." And I was like, "Why?" They're like, "Well, it's a kid movie. You don't have kids on. You don't feel that way, do you?" I was like,
No.
"If you're going to go see a kid movie and you feel weird about it because you don't have kids, then maybe you need to rethink that you're being creepy."
Yeah.
You know, it's just a film. You go enjoy it. It doesn't matter if it's
Yeah.
rated G or rated R. It's there for your enjoyment. It's entertainment. And I thought that was a weird reason not to go see a
kids
film.
only.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
One of my all-time favorite films is The Jungle Book, and it's an animated Disney film, and it's in my top 10 movies I ever grew up watching. So it's okay to like kid films. You're allowed. Go see it.
I was impressed with the live-action version of that movie.
Yeah, it was good.
I've never been a cartoon person. Well, I like cartoons, but like Disney movies.
But the movie today, I know.
Disney movies, like I like Toy Story, but I've never been
Yeah.
like a Disney movie. Like I've never seen Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, you're not
I've
missing.
never seen The Princess Bride either.
Yeah, she told me that one time in a text. I was like, "What?" It's like, you haven't seen the first
You're
one?
in the group of men who've seen Princess Bride before you.
I know.
Let me take your
So
film
it's like,
card
"Oh my
away
God, I
from
can't believe you never saw-"
Yeah, I
got-
think I gave her a hard time about
You know
that.
the man card thing. Let me take away your man card. Let me take away your film card.
I got shit for not seeing the Beauty and the Beast 2. I was like,
the hell
oops.
that.
I mean,
Well, I will someday. I just haven't. I was never,
yeah. No, I can see that.
It's like I was busy watching Halloween.
I mean, there are people. There are people that live and breathe on Disney films, and I've never understood. Like, I enjoy some of them for what they are, but like, I don't hold them to the end all of animation. But there are people out there that do that.
Yeah.
That Disney is the king, and you can't watch an Illumination animated film or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you like what you like.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yarp.
That's why Long watches a Godzilla film every week. No, sorry. Took a shot at you.
Thank you.
Since y'all keep taking Whataburger shots at me.
Is that shit? I gotta get one back.
All right.
Okay. You should troll people by just calling it Waterburger.
Waterburger. I thought it was Waterburger for the longest time.
Yeah, a lot of people do when we were kids.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, now I get it as an adult.
Waterlog.
So today's featured film is 1981. 81, right? Yeah.
81.
Yep.
Heavy Metal.
38 years this year.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so Wynter, you picked. Well, you had suggested this movie, and I was like, that's a good idea. And it's this movie might be for me like the first time I saw this, like when we were kids. You know, you pass around cassettes, you know, music and stuff. Heavy Metal might be like the first bootlegged movie that I remember seeing. Like, you couldn't find this thing anywhere. It came out in 81, and it didn't show up on home video till like 1991 for like 10 years. And it would air like on HBO and stuff late at night or whatever. And so people would make copies of it. And I think that's the first time I ever saw Heavy Metal was at some friend's house on bootleg VHS where it's all, the tracking's all messed up. And I'm sitting there thinking, I was probably 11, 12 years old and thinking, hey, there's naked people in animated film. I didn't think anything else about it, you know. I didn't realize what the story was or anything. That's just the honest truth. Probably the first time I ever experienced this movie was on a bootleg VHS.
Nice.
You know?
So,
And
Wynter, what was it about this movie that you have such a passion about?
A connection with it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first time I even had any like connection with it, I guess, would be the vinyl. My dad bought the record, and so here I am looking at this, you know, cover, and I'm gonna call her the badass chick on the badass bird, right? And so I knew nothing of it, but in my goals. And my 8-year-old self was like, I want to be that badass chick on the badass bird when I grow up, right? But the soundtrack was everything. Like, we listened to it all the time. That was actually our soundtrack always going to Austin, because we went to Austin so much as a child. Or when my brother and I were kids, we'd always listen to the soundtrack. So really that was my first connection, and that's like kind of that reminiscing like thing that I have with it. But I didn't see it until probably junior high, but when I did see it, you know, when I was smaller or younger, everyone would always say, close your eyes, close your eyes, close your eyes. I'm like, why? It's like cartoon. Why can't I see this cartoon? So it wasn't until, you know, I actually saw it in its entirety that, oh, there's a lot of shit going on here, like drugs and, you know, sex, and I didn't understand all that. Of course not, you know, whatever. So I loved it. I mean, I have always been such a fan of that movie, and there's so many different stories. I love the storyline, even though there's so many different things. There's a tie at the end, you know, and I don't know. I think it was more the soundtrack that drew me in.
Yeah.
Because I love music, so.
I think it's one of the hardest soundtracks to track down too, wasn't it?
for a while,
You
just
can't
like the
find it on
movie was.
Spotify.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Even
Yeah.
if you do find like a download, like a digital version of the album, I mean, you still can't get the entire library.
They had trouble with the rights for years.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's one of the reasons it didn't come to home video.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
home
longest
video,
time.
Even if it was released on home video, they were still missing songs from the original theatrical run. You know, so I'm like, wow, man, music rights could be such a pain.
I think I have a cassette copy of the soundtrack somewhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man.
And it has a DVD, and he used to have CD, and then he had 2 DVDs, and he was down to 1 DVD. But yeah, I mean that was a staple in our house.
Yeah.
For me personally, I've seen bits and pieces of it. You know, during high school, you know, like, hey, I just want to care about the nudity. Like, you know,
I want to watch Den.
hormone-driven kid that I am. And then, you know, I've always seen the last skit of the movie, and I was impressed by it, by the story and the music. The orchestral soundtrack
Yeah.
for the introduction of that character is just phenomenal. I can't say that word.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I always have trouble with that word. I don't know why. Phenomenal. And of course, I do remember the Major Boobage episode. That's the name of the episode for South Park. And I remember it calling, you know, big callbacks to the movie Heavy Metal from South Park. And yeah, I mean, I appreciate how it changes art styles between each story.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I mean, I like it.
Yeah.
So this week was the first week you watched it.
Watched it in its
From
whole
beginning to end?
entirety.
Wow.
Yeah, from beginning to end. I might have seen it in its entirety before,
Right.
but I don't remember.
Yeah.
But, this time, being salient as I am, watched it all the way through. So yeah.
When was the first time you watched this, Matt?
I think you had mentioned it to me whenever I first started working at Kroger, and LimeWire was a thing at the time, and I downloaded it on LimeWire. And, it's like, I guess I picked the right file because I saw the right movie. Sometimes you download stuff.
You never know what you got on those things back then.
Yeah. There was one time I downloaded Spider-Man 3, and it wasn't the right version of Spider-Man 3. It was like those memes that you see. I think I downloaded the wrong Michael Myers movie, and you're like, is that Lisa Ann? And some guy in a Michael Myers costume. But yeah, I watched it all the way through, and then I watched Heavy Metal 2000 right after that. And obviously in 1981 Heavy Metal is awesome. And I remember watching the opening scene, and I'm like, man, that looks like the Fifth Element. And lo and behold, Fifth Element did, draw inspiration from the first series in the film. And it was just great. Holds up still today, and
Right. Well,
very entertaining.
For people that don't know, the Heavy Metal is based on a European magazine that was anthology stories. And a lot of artists over the years got their starts in this magazine.
Metal House.
And it used to be, when I would go to the comic book store as a kid, Heavy Metal was like the Playboy of comic book stores. You weren't really supposed to look at it.
Yeah.
And there were times you might try to sneak a look at it, and sometimes the comic book shop owner was like, are you old enough for that? That happened to me. True story.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put it right back,
I'm old enough to read it.
Yeah, and it branched off into this film, which was strangely a Canadian animated film, even though it's very much a European-based magazine. It was all animated through an animation company in Canada, which is kind of interesting. And they even, a Canadian studio even helped release it. And then I guess in America, was it Warner Brothers that put it? No, I think it was Warner Brothers. I can't remember who put it out in America.
Sounds right, Warner Brothers.
Yeah, but I don't think they put their name on it because it was one of their in-house studios that put it out, because it's a very adult kind of, even in 1981, a bit of a controversial film to be an animated film and to have what is in the film, the extreme sex and violence and stuff like that. Because even today, I think if an animated film came out like this, it would still be, because animation is one of those things that is supposed to be pure. It's not supposed to be adult. And anime, though, has helped over the years bring it more to adult levels. But back in 1981, that wasn't happening yet. So it was a different movie.
I think it was pretty much ahead of its time.
Yeah, way ahead of its time. And one thing, rewatching it this week, I forgot it's very detailed.
It really is.
And they use a rotoscoping technology where they film some stuff with actors and animate it over and stuff. And I didn't realize how detailed this film is in a lot of parts. And I've seen it several times, but it's been a few years since I watched it. And I was like, wow, this is some really nicely animated sequences.
I made my wife watch it. She's like, all these girls are very voluptuous.
I just learned what rotoscoping was this week.
Really?
Because I like the beginning when the Corvette comes down out of this shuttle, which is like the best part. Mm-hmm. It looks so real. So I never kind of tied all that, but they use that in Scanner Darkly and Ah's music video, Take On Me.
Yeah.
So I never knew what that was. So I wanted to find out what they used, and they also used it in another scene or another story in Heavy Metal where Tarna is getting dressed. So they used an actress to do all that too. So I kind of learned those parts and what it all meant. So that was new to me.
Yeah.
I learned something new every day.
Have you seen the classic Sleeping Beauty animated movie from Disney?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That scene where she's dancing with the forest animals.
Yeah.
That's rotoscoping with a budget.
Okay.
Yeah. So that, and when the Prince Charming comes in and dances with her, that's rotoscoping. It looks so lifelike when they're dancing and stuff too. But yeah, Disney pioneered rotoscoping.
Okay.
When they pioneered a lot of stuff. Back in the golden age of animation. But I want to run through just the names of each of these skits that we saw.
Yeah.
And Wynter mentioned the astronaut one. That's called Soft Landing.
Yes.
The next was Grimaldi. That's the farmhouse, the framing story that contains all the stories within it. The first major story was Harry Canyon, the taxi driver in the future. That's a crappy New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second was Den, about the nerdy guy who got transported into this world.
That's my favorite, man. John Candy
doing the voice.
Yeah.
That one was not my favorite.
Yeah.
Really?
That's the one I always fast forward. I'm like, no.
What?
It's just like,
It's a power fantasy.
Yeah.
I can see why it's Matt's favorite.
Yeah.
and I think it's a guy. Okay, I'm sorry, but I think it's just a guy thing. It's more like targeted to guys, and where I'm just like,
Yeah.
all
It's
sex,
also
it's like,
targeted
okay.
to women in a way. So the original story, that girl that's also from Earth is actually 80 years old. So how would you feel if you were 80 years old and now you're this beautiful woman and this muscular dude is attracted to you? So,
I guess you're right.
Yeah, I read there was
I
this.
think I probably just
Yeah.
fast forwarded it too much. Where I just don't.
but the way it shows, it does look like it's geared
Yeah.
towards the
Yeah.
male fantasy, and a lot of this is.
Yeah. I'm just running through it real quick, and then we'll double back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Den, of course, was what we were just talking about. And then, let's see here. Captain Sten was the one
yeah.
about the space captain.
Hanover Fist.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Neverwhere Land is actually a deleted skit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was supposed to tie in between the Captain Sten space trial, to the B-17 story, which is one of my favorites.
I like the B-17.
Oh yeah.
That one's just-
It's like out of George A. Romero's
And then,
mind or something.
After that, horror story, So Beautiful and So Dangerous. That's the one where spaceship comes and abducts the secretary
Yeah.
and the scientist.
Snorting aliens.
Yeah.
Snorting aliens.
Robot sex.
And then, let's see, the last major story is Tarna,
Yes.
which is about the warrior maiden. And then the epilogue, which is the framing story's ending, which kind of ties into Tarna. So, we'll go with Wynter. What's your favorite stories from these?
My favorite one is the So Beautiful. The one with the big old smiley face.
Oh,
Ship.
okay. That's the one when the lady was abducted by
The robot
snorting aliens.
sex.
Yeah.
So Beautiful.
Go
and So
for broke,
Dangerous.
man.
Yeah, the big smiley face ship comes down, sucks out the people and the lady, and then the aliens and the plutonium Nyborg. And when they go down and go, nosedive. Like vacuum cleaners.
Yeah.
And then their whole trip, they see the USS Enterprise. Did you ever catch
Yeah.
that? Yeah, that was like,
Yeah.
I didn't catch that until much later because I didn't pay attention to that shit. So I was just like, oh, there it is. But yeah, that was my favorite one. And then of course, the story with Tarna.
Yeah. How about you, Matt?
Yeah. So Den, of course. I mean, he's just he's this dorky kid that probably didn't really have good conversations with girls or good interaction with girls, probably because they made him out to be a dork, and then he's just this muscular action hero all of a sudden, and he's got the women after him, and he's saving the day, and then of course Tarna at the end. I think those are the two best ones. Having a more brutal Xeno warrior princess just slaying guys in the bar.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, well, I always like the Tarna sequence. I like that fantasy elements of it and the fantasy action. And in fact, there was even talk at one time that the sequel, that turned into Heavy Metal 2000, was supposed to be an expanded Tarna story.
Yeah.
Where it was going to be a longer film version, and then it never happened. We got the crappy sequel that we ended up getting, and I always thought that would have been cool to see her story expanded on and to see her universe more. And I really like the B-17s? I really like that war sequence in the film.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. It's really, really neatly animated. They had to have used some rotoscoping techniques in that sequence too. I've always liked that part of the film also. So probably those first two. I think that's when I rewatched it this week. I feel like it drags a little bit for me at the beginning because my favorite stuff is at the end of the film. And I think that's why when I said it holds up, when I texted y'all earlier, I think I said it holds up pretty well, but not as well as I remember it holding up. I think maybe that's just why, as I was waiting for the cool stuff at the end. This feels like one of those movies too that when I watched it a lot in the early years on bootleg, I would watch the first half of the film a lot, and he would turn it off and you never finish it. And I think that's why I appreciate the end of the film a little bit more.
That makes sense.
It feels like I've seen the Den story 1,000 times, but not the rest of the stories. I don't know why. It's just the way it felt. Like, oh, I've seen all this before. But those are probably my favorite sequences of the movies.
I had forgotten how many stories there actually were in the movie.
Yeah.
I didn't think there were that many. It's like it all kind of ran together, except for that Den one. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just fast forward that.
Yeah. It's funny because I always felt like the Captain Stern one felt out of place in it a little bit. Like the Den story, I see like your point. The Den story seems kind of silly to fast forward, but it does seem to go better with the other stories than the Captain one. It always felt just like this really goofy, like the Captain story is almost a comedy, but this guy's really like kind of evil.
Yeah,
like accounts of rape and murder and all this stuff, and but they want you to laugh at this, and it's kind of weird. But I think that's the point, and it's supposed to be
and a moving violation,
and he has this
not guilty
plot to get out of it, and it somehow works at the end, and he gets away, and he still keeps all his money because he basically kills everybody he ever comes into contact with.
It's kind of funny though, the way the Den, that's basic structure of the nerdy guy who ends up being the most powerful person on that world.
Yeah,
that's the most dominant current genre of anime right now.
Really?
Yeah, because you have nerdy characters who are good at MMO gaming. They get transported into this fantasy world, and they have they're uber powerful. Like magic wise and stuff. They don't not physically, but they're just that's right now the most popular genre going on right now.
John Carter.
Yeah. No, not really. But yeah. John Carter-ish.
Virginia.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but yeah, it's kind of funny how that plot device is still used right now. Me personally, I actually kind of like the cab driver a little bit. The cab driver skit. The more I think about it, but I think my two favorite ones that stick out the most is B-17 and the Tarna. Tarna the warrior.
You were talking earlier too about like the orchestral part of this film. It's for an animated film. It's really well scored. Not just the soundtrack, but the actual orchestral music they used was well scored too.
Elmer Bernstein.
Yeah.
Well, they used it was supposed to be used for the movie Saturn in 1980, but it was never used.
Yeah,
so they just repurposed it. It was already recorded.
The Douglas movie.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
With Heather Locklear.
Yeah, Heather Locklear.
Yeah. But Elmer Bernstein has composed music for Ghostbusters,
American Werewolf in London,
To Kill a Mockingbird, the Magnificent Seven Western.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know he did Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, he's very prolific film composer. So I gotta track down that track, that music piece that they were playing for her introduction scene in Tarna. You guys want to hear the list of music that was
Yes.
through?
The favorite.
This is probably the most research I've done for any movie.
You came with a book report.
Yeah. First piece of music was by Riggs. The title was called Radar Rider. And then in Harry Kenyon, the taxi story, you had Blue Oyster Cult with veteran of the Psychic Wars, Don Fagan from True Companion, Stevie Nicks for the song called Blue Lamp.
My favorite song.
Oh yeah. And Journey, their song was Open Arms.
Yep.
Let's see what Den had for their music. Let's see. Den had only one track by Cheap Trick.
Oh, there we go.
Reach Out. So that was the name of the song, Reach Out. That sounds familiar.
They're Cheap Trick. They're playing in Houston.
Really?
July 6th or something.
I know that.
B-17 had one track called Heavy Metal, Taking a Ride by Don Felder. I don't remember that artist, do you?
It's it's the main track at the beginning of the movie. It's
Yeah,
you've heard it before. It's been on the radio many, many times over the years.
Yeah. So Beautiful, So Dangerous, the one with the smiley spaceship. Cheap Trick contributed I Must Be Dreamin'. Grand Funk Railroad for Queen Bee. Nazareth called Crazy, A Suitable Case for Treatment. Don Felder again for All of You. And then, let's see what's next. Tarna had 4 musical tracks. Black Sabbath, their song was E5150. 2 Devo contributions. I know that one of them was being played in the bar.
The bar.
Yeah.
Through Being Cool and Working in the Coal Mine. Oh yeah, is that a cover song? Working in the Coal Mine?
I don't
Because
know.
I've
It's
heard
from I think it's 50s.
yeah,
or
the whole
something.
Motown
Yeah.
song or something. And then Black Sabbath, The Mob Rules.
Yeah, Black Sabbath had a lot of influence, like the helmets on the warriors that turn into like the zombie-like creatures. It's all taken from a Black Sabbath album cover.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
Yeah, their designs and everything. So the soundtrack inspired you growing up to find this movie and watch it. So what are some of your favorite like bands that influenced you?
I grew up with, so my dad was in a band and listened to rock. So it was like Black Sabbath, Steely Dan.
Steely Dan.
Yeah.
You know what a Steely Dan is?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
We won't say that here, but look it up.
Yeah, look it up. You'll be surprised.
Yeah. I grew up with a lot of classic rock. So classic rock is my thing. I like a lot of metal, but I'll always go back to classic rock.
Yeah,
You know, Led Zeppelin.
yeah, yeah. We've hung out at a few concerts over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taproot.
Yeah,
Taproot.
lots of Taproot and Deftone shows.
Yes.
Many.
Talking about my Chino. But yeah, I grew up around music for the most part.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, there were probably a lot of adolescent boys who may have discovered heavy metal and heavy metal music because of this movie and seeking out the soundtrack and the film on bootlegs or whatever, and because this film, in a lot of ways, I was reading the way it was received when it came out, and there were some critics that really did get it. They knew what the film was going for and they understood it, but there were a lot of critics that wrote it off as just an adolescent fantasy and it served no purpose, and that's why it kind of sits at a lot of ratings. It sits at like a 6.5, kind of in the middle, because you have such a mixed bag of critics that really understood what they were trying to do with this, and you had the ones that just said no, it's silly adolescence fantasy film.
Polarizing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Intellectia.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder what, like, today people might say if something like this came out in the same vein. Would people understand it more today? Maybe they might be a little more accepted to it because of all the comic book films and things we have now. Maybe they would look at it a little bit differently.
I think that
Or more outraged?
I don't think that it would be received very well because of
Yeah.
Political correctness.
yeah.
That's true.
It's kind
So it is very un-PC film, that's for sure.
sensitive.
Yeah.
these
90s
days,
maybe.
Yeah.
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 It's a different
Different time now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for animation. I mean, it would be more underground, I think.
Yeah.
Not like it was then.
Yeah. I think it'll be more accepting among anime fans because they've seen a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, like, with the Love Section Robots on Netflix, I think that's why David Fincher and Tim Miller were trying to reboot this as an anthology show on TV, because I think it would work better in that sense today than it would as a film. You know, if you were going to bring back heavy metal in any form, bring it back as an animated series that you can stream or watch
You
online.
finished
Yeah.
that show yet?
No, I still haven't finished all
Come
18.
on, man.
I'm getting there. You know, my internet sucks in this house. That's all I know. Start streaming stuff and it starts fading out on me. I'm like, okay. But I try.
That must suck.
I know. It does. I gotta call Comcast and yell at them. Tell them that's not very Comcastic of them.
Yeah. No. Okay.
Comcastic.
Thanks, sir. We'll just raise your prices of your cable anyways. That's what they'll do.
But I don't think you can even find this movie to buy it, like, on, well, because I can talk to my Roku and I'm like, heavy metal, and it's not anywhere.
I got it on Vudu.
Did you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I rented
I
it.
got it on Amazon Prime Video on
Yeah.
that digital platform.
Roku just doesn't like you.
Maybe not.
I have it on Blu-ray. You can get it on Blu-ray for about $5. It's pretty $5 to $7.
I had to borrow
yeah.
my dad's. So.
Yeah.
On my own.
Yeah, but for a long time you could not find this, mostly because of music rights, and it came out home video for rent in like the early 80s, and they pulled it all because the music rights disappeared. Then finally, like in 91, it came out on home video, because I remember owning this on VHS, and then it got pulled again because the music rights all faded. And then finally, like in 2001, it seems like every 10 years. In 2001, it got released on DVD, and then it disappeared again. And then in like 2011, it came out on Blu-ray.
Oh, wow.
And it seems like now they finally, because I guess shoot that stature, because they said the movie's 38 years old, maybe that stature finally passed where they have to stop rebuying the rights to the music every 10 years.
Wow, I didn't realize it was
Yeah.
that many times.
Yeah, so it had some trouble staying on. And then, like I said, you would get, apparently it even aired at times on HBO and stuff like that without some of the music in it. They just put orchestral music on it. You know,
That'd be boring.
yeah. Yeah.
Well,
What's
Orchestra.
the point?
Yeah.
It's another reason why I always say lawyers ruin the fun every time.
Well, and they make, but they've learned, a lot of Hollywood's learned their lessons now. If they make films and stuff, they make sure they buy these rights to music, and they buy like 30-year rights and stuff. So I guess it was different back then. They just bought it to use in that film, and they didn't consider the ramifications of a few years from then if they were going to be able to show the film to a public audience without the rights to the music. You know, but we'll just blame the Canadians. This was a Canadian release. No, I'm just kidding. Anybody's from Canada listening. There's not one Canadian artist on the soundtrack, and it's a Canadian release.
That's weird.
So they didn't even care.
Whatever.
It's okay.
You just have the movie where
But
it's wrong.
yeah. But so, but that is how I feel about heavy metal. It was like the first bootleg movie for me growing up. I remember watching. I it's kind of funny. So I remember this being put on at a party I was at where a bunch of people were really drunk and high, and they put on heavy metal. It was that kind of movie. Like, hey, let's get stoned and watch this. You know,
Let's get stoned.
I'm not saying I was stoned or anything. I'm just saying I remember being at this party, and that happened.
There were people stoned at the party.
There were people there. You know, that was kind of how heavy metal got its name, I guess, growing up, being that underground cult film that you weren't supposed to watch but you knew about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was like, just cover your eyes.
Yeah.
Hey, fine. Yeah. No, it's like the best movie. It's like one of my top 5, if not my number 1. Actually, next to Halloween.
Next to Halloween.
There we go.
I didn't know I was going to get shot at about Halloween today, too. Oh, the Waterburger. That's okay. I can take it.
Hey, now.
Taking all the hits today.
Hey, at least I finally watched Halloween.
Yes, I'm very proud.
I will give you that.
Now if someone will watch The Princess Bride, we'll be okay.
There we go.
Yeah, I was talking about it. I was like texting. I was like, yeah. Stop talking shit.
Get right on it.
So, final thoughts on heavy metal for everybody?
I love it. It's the bomb. You should watch it.
Think you have to
Everybody
see it.
should watch it.
Not bad. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's curious. This is definitely a movie that's very much a product of its time. For someone to watch it first time all the way through after it's been 38 years.
I can see why it's a cult
Right.
classic, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you also have a very good open mind to different films and stuff. But I wonder how...
I actually enjoy this more than any of the Ralph Bakshi type animation, like Fire and Ice.
His stuff,
Fire and Ice.
Have you ever seen Wizards? It's
No.
good. That's probably the best thing he did.
I don't want to.
If you like heavy metal, you'd like Wizards.
Really?
It's not. It doesn't have all the sex that this has, but it's in that.
no, hard
but
no.
but Wizards is in that kind of darker vein.
Yeah, but I don't like the animation style.
Yeah,
The only reason why I like heavy metal's animation style is because they changed
the
art
different
style.
artists. Yeah.
So if it was stuck on that the first New York story style, I was like, oh my god, this is like breaking my eyes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm glad that they changed up the art.
Different looks.
Yeah.
It was very too detailed. It was like cut up to me, like in my opinion. It's very like butchered.
You can tell the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to like say anything bad about it because it's still good, but like all the lines and stuff like really messed with my.
It's yeah.
But then again, I guess this was kind of for the
I'm just
Like
glad
you
it finished
said,
strong
the
towards the end.
stoners.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're high, this is a great movie.
What would you, Matt?
What I think about the movie?
Yeah. Score it. Score it, Matt.
I would give it. I think it's a solid B. I think just because of how it translates versus today's graphics, but the story's great.
I agree
think
with
the
you.
story's an A.
It finished strong.
I almost wish they would. Maybe it's blasphemy, but if they would like remaster it, like a different. Because I watched the 4K, and
It was pretty blurry.
it looked. Yeah, it didn't look like there was much difference as if I would have watched it in.
I think it's just I think it's a product of just that's the best they can do with the film.
Yeah.
Over the years, it wasn't unfortunately reserved as well.
They only went as far as DVD quality with that movie.
Yeah,
it seems even in HD.
They
upscaled it. You know?
Yeah,
we get one of these Funimation or these Japanese guys that do hentai and do a re-release and have them do their yeah it does. No, it does. You have to have a hentai animator for the for the assets.
You don't have to be jiggly.
Yeah.
Believe me,
have them move more than the rotoscope.
I think the best way to describe heavy metal is summed up with words you says. A critic said that this is the best adolescent trip movie you'll ever watch.
That's a good summary.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
You score a winner.
A.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I was about to say
A all the way.
All the way.
A little bias.
No, I loved it. I
Fair
loved
enough.
the whole story. Like I said, I mean, it's just the whole movie in itself was tied into this girl, and that's what I take from it. Just Tarna, and she is now, the little girl. I'm just gonna give it away.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No, it's okay.
She's this little girl now who is now going to carry on into the next, generation.
Yeah.
Along with Badass Bird.
That's right.
I was very sad, and I did cry whenever they hurt that bird in the Tarnis story.
Yeah.
I was like, no! And she self-sacrificed herself.
Yeah. That's okay. You wanted to be Tarna growing up.
I did.
I wanted to be Luke Skywalker.
I still want to be Tarna when I grow up.
I wanted to be Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
I wanted to be Arnold.
Yeah, you still want to be Arnold.
I still want to be Arnold.
Yeah. So that's fair enough. So, good pick, though. Good
Yeah.
pick for a movie.
Yay!
So, you did good. Don't worry.
Yarp.
Yarp.
I still don't know what that word
What
means.
is that?
It's
like trying to
Long's
make
word.
fetch happen. Is this
Oh,
happening?
Huh?
It's just like trying to
So
make
fetch.
So fetch. Trying to make fetch happen.
No,
We're gonna
not
make-
really.
We're gonna make Yarp happen.
I got it from that movie Hot Fuzz.
Oh, okay.
Ah, okay.
Comedy action movie.
Yes.
And there was this tall dude in there. All he says is "yarp," and then he happens to play one of the meanest, most, greatest characters in Game of Thrones, the Hound.
Oh.
A comedic character like that says "yarp," but he's like the meanest old cuss in Game of Thrones. So, pretty good actor.
I've never seen Game of Thrones.
If you like Tarna, you'll like Game of Thrones. In a lot of ways.
There's a lot of nudes swimming through a river and
What?
grabbing a sword.
No.
No.
Badass birds.
There is
Yeah.
nudity in swords.
Badass dragons. I did hear.
There are badass dragons.
Badass dragons.
There you go.
Yeah, I always heard about a dragon dying, and I was like, what the fuck am I missing? Obviously, a lot.
Yeah, I don't feel bad. I'm way behind on it, too. And then the X stole my Game of Thrones Blu-ray, so... Fuck. I was trying to watch them.
What a Drogon.
I know. So we got a little bit of news. God, this is a very slow week. Like, nothing happened this week. But there's a little bit of news. So, I guess I'll start. DC Vertigo is closing after
I was so mad when I read that.
25 years. Well, I mean, they're not doing away with some of the comics that are in print. They're going to put everything under DC
Black Label.
now. Yeah, they're going to call it DC Black Label.
Oh, why
DC's
does that have to
trying.
be black?
Well, I guess it's. Well, the idea when Vertigo came out in '93 was mature reader comics. They introduced the Sandman, the famous book by Neil
Hellraiser.
Gaiman and Hellraiser, John Constantine,
I'm sorry,
and
Hellblazer.
Hellblazer,
Hellblazer.
yeah. And so I guess now though it's accepted that you walk into a comic store and there are going to be books now that are not just for teens or kids. They have ratings on comics now, so really don't need a separate label anymore. Is the way DC is looking at it. You just because comics are come to be accepted that they're more adults are reading them now than ever before, and it's not just kids reading them. So I guess it makes sense from a marketing standpoint, but it just feels like it's something. As long as I've been reading comics, Vertigo's always been a thing, and now it's going away.
You remember that controversy last year, Matt, for DC Black Label?
Yeah,
They finally showed Batman's.
Batman's
Yeah, that's right.
We talked about it on the show.
Bat penis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bruce Wang.
Bruce. Well, speaking of Batman, he's going to have a star on the Walk of Fame, a Hollywood Walk of Fame, and
Which one? Which Batman?
The just Batman.
Oh.
He will join there's been 21 fictional characters that have stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So Batman will be the 22nd, I guess, next year.
Is Gumby one of them?
Join the likes of Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. I don't know. I didn't look at the whole damn list.
Godzilla.
Yeah.
Godzilla.
But I just know Batman is going to join the ranks.
That's
so
awesome.
I guess they just get somebody to stand. Yeah, Donald Trump has a hall.
It keeps getting destroyed.
And then the only other news I have was they're going to re-release Endgame in theaters with extra footage, but it's not in the movie. It's like you have to stay after the credits and they'll show you a deleted scene.
Yeah.
It's like this is like feels like let's just make a little more cash, Marvel. That's all they're trying to do.
No, they're trying to pull an Avatar. Avatar re-released and stayed in theaters longer.
Things.
Do you have some news?
Yes.
It was I guess I missed things.
Bryan Singer is officially replaced on the Red Sonja project. He's now the Red Sonja project is now being directed by Jill Swalloway. That's her name, Swalloway.
Something like that. Yeah, I did see that.
She's writing and directing the movie. And Gail Simone, you know that name, Gail?
Mm-hmm.
She's was pretty excited about it since Gail Simone has written Birds of Prey, Secret Six.
Yeah.
Her own Red Sonja take, so it's pretty good. And second, the Neon Genesis Evangelion is finally released on Netflix with a new English dub. Remastered too, it looks great on Netflix. It's like one of those Hallmark seminal genre-changing anime series out there. That and Cowboy Bebop and Trigun, back in the mid-90s. So if you've never seen it, if you've always heard about it, give it a watch because it's the TV series and it's two movie sequels.
They're all on Netflix.
Yeah.
They're all on Netflix. So if you want to catch up on the lore and just see why it's such a big deal, check it out. Also, what was the third piece?
Marvel releasing that picture.
Of what?
Well, it's a picture of like a confidential document, quote unquote, and it's about the children of the Atom and explaining the X-Men, how they're going to tie it in.
That reminds me, earlier in the week there was a countdown that started with the number 4 and ending.
Oh yeah.
And people thought, "Oh, is it going to be a Fantastic Four?" And then the next day it was 3, and then 2.
It's just a new
1.
Spider-Man comic book.
It's just a new Spider-Man comic book being written by J.J. Abrams and his son.
Yeah.
And people were just crapping all over it. Like I'm sure it'll be written well because J.J. Abrams is a pretty good writer.
Great writer, yeah.
And it was the most anticlimactic countdown. Because people were just making all these wild thoughts.
Isn't it based off of like the Tobey Maguire stuff?
I don't know.
No.
I could have sworn I saw something.
Could be like an unofficial sequel.
Yeah.
Like
Maybe they made him in Tobey Maguire's likeness. Maybe that's why.
yeah. Oh, and the third piece was the new Stranger Things season 3 trailer dropped today. So it looked really good.
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
July
Yeah, go see
4th,
that.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna come. You have to go see it.
I'm off.
Oh,
Have you seen
I'm gonna
Stranger
binge it.
Things? Have any of you guys seen
I've
it?
watched the first
Yeah.
2 seasons. Yeah.
Yeah. How about the second one?
I watched
Yep.
them both. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll watch it all day.
Dude, I
No.
can't wait. I
Dude.
can't wait.
I hope it maintains its quality. Shows like that always scare me whenever they come out and they never really planned for this thing to be 5 years. They were like, let's make 8 episodes and hope it does well, and it did well. And then season 2 was really good, but you just wonder if it can stay that way over the 5 seasons they're planning on doing
They
Stranger
intentionally
Things.
waited a couple years.
Oh yeah, I know this time because they wanted it to take place over the summer and
and
July
let the kids
4th.
grow up a bit more.
Yeah. So, but I think it will maintain quality. Even though I'm a little bit reserved on thinking, is it going to stay that good? When they take their time with the show. So we'll see. So that'll give us something to watch. There really hasn't been a whole lot to watch as far as Netflix shows.
Toy Story's out.
Yeah. And Toy Story's in theaters.
Hey, I just noticed your Kuropi tattoo.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Got that when I was
Ribbit.
20?
Oh, wow.
I thought you were about to say
Do you have to
12.
recolor it every each?
Nope.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good ink.
Yeah, they kept really good
Hasn't
color.
faded or anything.
No,
Wow.
good green.
Looks fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first got it, like after a week, somebody like went and go, "Is that real?" And I scratched it. I was like, "Fuck, yes, it's real."
Yeah.
Like, oh, I thought it was a sticker. No,
No.
not a
Yeah,
sticker.
because
I know-
people
I
put
know this
stickers
I
girl.
should have put a sticker
on their
my leg.
legs. Yeah.
I used to know this girl who looked like Batsmaru, the penguin that always looked dour. Like, he's always frowning. It's like, yeah, she looks like that penguin.
I'm a Hello Kitty fan. Like, see,
Oh, nice.
my Converse are Hello Kitty.
Oh.
Nice.
Look at you.
I was thrown off by the shades and tat. Okay, well, that's all the news then, right?
Yeah,
That's
it.
So, next week's film. We just mentioned the Spider-Man countdown. You know, Far From Home's fixing to hit theaters. Everybody's excited to see what happens after Endgame, and you know how they're going to introduce new elements to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we're going to talk a movie that's not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's kind of the modern. In a lot of ways, it might be the modern superhero kickoff in some ways. We're going to do 2002's Sam Raimi's version of Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I? You sure you want to know? If somebody told you I was just your average, ordinary guy, not a care in the world, somebody lied. Truth is, it wasn't always like this. There was a time when life was a lot less complicated. Can I take your picture for the school paper?
Sure. In this lab, we have 15 genetically enhanced super spiders.
There's 14. One's missing.
Peter, are you alright?
I'm fine.
Pete, look, you're changing. I know I went through exactly the same thing at your age.
No, not exactly.
Wow.
Peter, may I introduce my father, Norman Osborn?
Great honor to meet you, sir.
Harry tells me you're quite the science whiz. You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
What the hell was that?
Whatever it is, somebody has to stop it.
With great power comes great responsibility.
This is my gift.
Wow.
It is my curse.
Who are you?
Who am I? I'm Spider-Man.
Do I get to say thank you this time?
Do too much. You're not Superman, you know.
And you've all seen this movie, of course. It was a big deal when it came out. James Cameron was trying to make Spider-Man for years. He never got it made, so Sam Raimi came along, and Sony finally made a Spider-Man film, and with Tobey Maguire starring, and it was a really big deal. Everybody went to the theaters to see it, and the rest, as they say, is history. So I think this is still a pretty good Spider-Man movie. It may not be as good as Homecoming or the Spider-Man we're getting now, but I think it's pretty good. So it should be fun to talk about.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
I remember it being a big deal. I remember the advertisement had the World Trade Centers on it, and they had to go in and change posters and all that after 9/11. So, you know, I remember that was a big deal about when it came out. No, it didn't really delay the movie.
I thought it did.
No, it was the first one. It's the first one. Yeah, because it was 2002, 4, and 6, right? For that trilogy?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Yeah. Sounds about right. Maybe 2007 for the third one. I don't know. Nobody talks about the third one.
We all saw it together.
Yeah.
Remember? And then everything cut out at the end? We didn't get to see what happened at the end? You remember that?
I thought he came back on, though, a few minutes later.
No.
I don't remember. That was a long time ago. I don't know.
Yep, we went to the Edwards Marquee.
I remember that.
Yeah,
but I thought it came back
with
on.
Nassau.
There's a whole bunch of us.
Yeah,
There was like 9 or 10 of us went and saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we watched Tobey Maguire be Venom, and it was weird.
Yes.
Or not Tobey Maguire. Topher Grace. Why did I say Tobey Maguire? Topher Grace was Venom. The kid from that 70s show.
Emo Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So So Spider-Man next week on the show, but not emo Spider-Man.
No.
Just regular Spider-Man.
But we'll talk about emo Spider-Man because it's cool.
It's not cool.
It's cool.
I want to know what this emo Spider-Man is.
You never saw Spider-Man 3, the third one?
No.
You're not missing anything.
No.
Maybe I can shoot you later.
There's a weird
Peter Parker.
Spider-Man. Yeah, Peter Parker goes a little emo in it, and there's one of those weird scenes in that movie too, where he's singing and snapping his fingers and he's dancing,
Give me
and
some
like
shade.
only the character hears the music, so people are looking at him. Those scenes in movies always bother me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
You know,
hip
it's like-
thrusting.
Yeah, it's like wait, no one else can hear
yeah.
the music, but this character.
I think it was Sam Raimi's way of telling the studio so.
Yeah, because he did.
Yeah.
He had a lot of
Yeah,
studio interference with part 3.
You know, you figure the studio would trust him more after the
Especially the first two
Spider-Man
movies being
Yeah.
so successful.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Stupid Sony.
pretty much.
Sony doesn't know how to make movies except for Blade Runner 2.
I'm trying to think. There's probably another one out there. But we'll go with Blade Runner 2. Yeah. But that's it for today's show. But as always, go to rebelradiopodcast.com, where you can follow us on all apps and our social media links. And Wynter, thank you so much for coming and hanging out.
I had a blast.
It was good. I hope so. I mean, we enjoyed you coming on. And anytime, you're always welcome.
Thank
Come
you.
hang out.
Yep.
And you guys, thanks for coming too.
Yeah. Thanks for showing up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yarp.
But that's it. This has been Mark.
This has been long.
This is Matt.
They do that to me, and I'm like, I get lost. And then, of course, Wynter. Thank you for coming and hanging out. It was a good time. And thank you, as always, for listening to the Rebel Radio podcast. And as usual, remember, just go there and do it.
Do it.
Hey, you're listening to Rebel Radio Podcast, and this is Jay Muse. Snooch to the nooch. Go there and do it.
This is Chuck Huber. You're listening to the Rebel Radio Podcast. Stop being so awesome.